Welcome to JMill's lecture. Welcome to JMill's lectures on photography. JMill will upload 4 lectures on photography. The first one will be the mirrorless camera Olympus. The next one will be mirrorless cameras. The other ones will be how to operate a camera, and the 4th one will be photography. Now, mirrorless cameras is like advanced. It's not quite the DSLR. Now, those are professional cameras, and when you use those cameras, it is exactly what you see. You know, it's the camera is as good as your pupil. But the advanced camera is almost as good. It's like, it's not gonna be like it's not gonna be like Hollywood. It's not gonna be like a professional, but it's gonna be close to it. Like, it's enough where like somebody would say like, okay, I want that camera. That camera will do. You know. Now, me personally, I prefer advanced cameras because I have a philosophy. I have a saying, is that nothing's ever perfect. So if it's never perfect, then that makes it kind of perfect. You know, like, if something's kind of perfect, then it is perfect, because nothing's ever perfect, and it allows room to be perfected. You know, so therefore it is perfect. Like, not perfect is perfect in my book. So that's how come I think the mirrorless camera is the perfect camera, especially my camera. my camera, the mirrorless camera, the mirrorless camera Olympus. Now, it's an okay camera. It comes with lens. It has a 42mm lens. Now, with that lens, it's okay. You know, most cameras, like an SLR camera, it's about around the same type of lens. Well, my camera it's kind of like it's like an advanced camera and not an advanced camera. It's a point and shoot, but the camera is advanced enough to take quality photographs. And if you're a good photographer, you'll be able to get professional photographs. Okay. Now, the 42. Now, this is how. Now, the mirrorless camera. Now, I prefer the mirrorless camera because you see, now you see, this camera right here. It has a flash. It has a lens, and you can even adapt other lenses. You could adapt a telephoto lens, and you could adapt a mirror. You could adapt a telephoto lens, and you could also adapt an eye, and one of those fish eye, an eye in the a fish lens, for extreme sports in motion. Now, this one is pretty good. It'll take a portrait, and it'll take a bokeh photo, which is like, you know, like a clear portrait and then like a blur in the background. It has a bulb in the manual. It has a shutter. It has an aperture. It has a screen. It has an art. The art is like where it has like different effects. The screen, that's the one with the motion. That's the one with the motion. That's the one with the nightscape. That's the one with all those presets, you know, for like different types of different types of images that you might want to achieve. It has right here. It has a flash. Now the flash in auto, if you use the flash it'll do the flash, it'll do the shutter, but you could do brackets and you could do brackets where you could just you could just take multiple images, like if you want to do like an animation, it has a flash. If you want to use a flash, the flash not always works too good, but maybe at night, you see, it works pretty good. If you don't have to use the flash. Okay, so this is how. See, this is what so that's what the camera sees. It doesn't have one of those those lenses, it doesn't have one of those it doesn't have one of those captures. You look through the camera. Now it has a live view. That's why I like the mirrorless camera. It has a level. It has levels. It has let me see. Okay. It has levels. It has levels. You have to go to manual. So it has levels, and it has so the levels right now mine is it was set to manual because I use this camera. This camera is not even this camera's old. Like the shutter's already going. The shutter's already like old. Like I still use it because I know this camera. This is my first camera. Most people got the professional cameras, but I got this one. So I got this one. So I know this one pretty well. Now, if you're a good photographer, you're gonna learn your camera. And once you learn your camera, and once you understand your camera, once your camera is once you comprehend your camera, then you're gonna be like an ace with that camera. You're gonna be the Red Baron of photographers. I'm telling you, like once you understand your camera, you're gonna be like a master in photography because you're gonna take photos. It's just once you comprehend your camera, you're gonna understand. Like it's like say you take a photograph, you're gonna be like, oh, I need to make an adjustment. Oh, the shutter's too high, or oh, the aperture's too low, or the lens, the iron, or maybe the iron is less. Maybe you want less, and it's kind of like it's complicated because less will be a 42. Less is like a 42 millimeter, and more it would be not a 42. So, and then you have the video court, but you don't want to use the video court on this. That wastes your shutter, because the shutter this is the shutter. This is your shutter inside. That's your shutter. So the more you use that shutter, is the more the shutter is like your phone. Like when you click, that's your shutter, and you only get so many. Like I think this one only has not so much. But it'll still work. But you're gonna see the quality of the images is not gonna be quite as good as when you first get it. But by the time by the time your camera gets old, you should already, you know, become an alright photographer. You could take a photography lesson online. It's just when you take a course, you know, when you take a course at an institute, it's you'll be more successful, because the way the teacher teaches you and the way the teacher shows you you have more time to work with your camera. You have more time to get familiar. You know, you actually go to places. You know, you might go to a field trip. Now you'll learn online, but It's just when you're in the institute, you have a guide. You know, You know, and you know, some people are gonna be just born photographers. Other people are not. You know, so it's basically you're training yourself. You're training your manos. You know, your fingers, your hands. You know, you're training your hands. You're training your pupils to learn to be a photographer. You're training yourself to become, you know, to see what the camera sees. You know, you're training yourself to be like, to operate a camera. Basically, it's just, the camera is going to be an extension of your body. You're going to become like a samurai. You're going to become like, you know, it's going to be just like second nature just to use your camera. Okay, well, that's the first lecture. The second lecture, like I said, is going to be on how to operate a camera. Basically, this is the mirrorless. No, alright. So this one is going to be this first lecture is the mirrorless camera. The Olympus mirrorless camera, and the second one's going to be the second one's going to be just mirrorless cameras versus professional cameras, right? You know. Now, I use a mirrorless camera. I'm not like, you know, super wealthy or nothing. You know, so that's it.